8:30 p.m. Uxbridge. A single scream cuts through the quiet streets. 3 stabbed, 1 fighting for life. Police move in, tapering a 22-year-old Afghan national and asylum seeker granted protection in 2022. Within minutes, the footage floods social media, shed blood on the pavement, chaos in daylight, and a question echoing across Britain. How much longer can this go on? By nightfall, anger has a pulse. Crowds gather outside migrant hotels from Kent to Southampton. Buildings once symbols of refuge now stand for a system many believe has failed them. £8.2 million a day, 51,000 migrants in hotels, free rooms, free meals, free allowances. For millions of Britons, it no longer feels like compassion. It feels like collapse. Inside Parliament, tempers flare while the blood on Uxbridge's pavement is still drying. Arrivals up 50%, illegal crossings up 52%, hotel use up 47%. Fewer than 2% ever removed. The Home Office calls it progress. Britons call it betrayal. Debates descend into shouting and not answers, and outside patience snaps. Southampton moves first. 60,000 fill the streets. Flares in hand, banners high. Portsmouth follows with 35,000. Brighton joins with 20,000 more. By dawn, the south coast is alive. A wall of flags and fury. At the Highfield House Hotel, 250 riot officers face a crowd that won't back down. Protect our women, save our kids. The chant rolls like thunder, bottles fly, pepper spray burns, 14 officers injured, 24 arrests. Still the crowd swells, veterans, mothers, students, workers, different lives, one feeling, anger. The flames aren't just on the streets now, they're in the bloodstream of the nation. The government pleads for calm, but calm doesn't come. The lion wasn't dead, only silenced. Now it's breaking its chains. By sunrise, Southampton isn't a protest, it's a message. Smoke hangs over Portswood Road, 47 arrests, 19 injuries, 2 million in damage. What began as outrage is now siege. The Home Office calls it contained disorder. Locals call it revenge. Officials meet behind closed doors, while outside one chant echoes, Southampton speaks for Britain. That message spreads faster than the government can erase it. The lion is awake, and its first roar comes from the south. Inside Downing Street, tension thickens. Ministers arrive through side doors, faces pale, voices low. At 7 a.m, the Prime Minister calls an emergency co-BR meeting. First question, who lost Southampton? Intelligence warns of coordinated protests in 12 more towns. Police reserves are drained. 9,000 overtime hours overnight. The Home Secretary demands control. The Defence Minister refuses. You can't police a nation against itself. Hours later, a leaked memo, Operation Restore Silence, reveals plans for curfews and blackouts. It spreads faster than any denial. By midday, the stock market dips 3%. Foreign papers call Britain a democracy in recoil. Inside Cabinet, voices rise. You can't police 67 million people, someone shouts. The Prime Minister stares at a red folder marked National Order Act. Draft. He doesn't sign it. He only whispers, contain. But the country isn't listening. By noon, cracks inside government widen. 2 cabinet ministers refuse to back the crackdown. One resigns live on air, calling it a betrayal of the British character. Another warns that using troops against citizens would shatter the covenant forever. Still, soldiers are placed on standby under Operation Fortress. Armoured vehicles roll toward the coast. Officially for logistics, but the images tell another story. Convoys under Union Jack flags move towards cities still smoking. Civil servants leak more data. Police morale down 37%. Public confidence down 62%. A Whitehall source describes the mood in 3 words, fear of ourselves. Outside number 10, cameras flash through silence. The Prime Minister hasn't appeared for 31 hours. When he finally does, the statement is short, the government remains in control. But no one believes it. That night, the blackout begins. News channels cut live feeds. Social media throttles anything tagged Southampton. But truth has already escaped. Mirror copies, proxy uploads, foreign servers, 47 million views in a day. The footage is raw. An old woman coughing through tear gas, police shielding an empty hotel, a child waving the Union Jack upside down. Every image strips the illusion of control. Even the BBC cracks leaked memos titled Public Reassurance Package. ITV anchors refuse to read scripted lines. The Herald prints one headline: "What are we defending?" That question echoes everywhere, in classrooms, churches and barracks. Priests quote psalms about false kings. Teachers whisper about lost trust. In a country once proud of stability, silence from power has become the loudest sound. People stop waiting for permission to speak. They film, they share, they remember. The blackout becomes Britain's brightest night. 36 hours after the first riot, the Prime Minister reappears. A national address under harsh white light. No flag, no applause. He calls Southampton an isolated breach. But the words fall flat. Millions watch from phones, not televisions, flooding the comments with disbelief. Outside, the crowds gather again. In Portsmouth, veterans sing the national anthem. In Nottingham, teachers hold candles. In Manchester, 10,000 stand in silence for the injured and ignored. Send her victorious, happy and glorious. The anthem echoes not as pride, but warning. Inside Downing Street, aides whisper the speech felt like a eulogy. Even allies call him a man out of time. When the broadcast ends, the sound outside is slow, deliberate clapping. It isn't applause. It's countdown. At dawn they come. Hundreds of veterans marching without banners, without slogans, only medals on their chests. Reporters call it the March of the Forgotten. A retired sergeant tells Sky News, "We defended this country once, now we defend it again." From within, police are ordered to disperse them. Many refuse. Some officers step aside and salute. That image spreads faster than any riot clip. By midday, 60 towns hold vigils. For the first time in decades, Britain looks at its reflection and sees division wearing a uniform. In Parliament, chaos returns. One MP shouts, "You've lost the public! You've lost the army. What's left?" Silence answers. That night, veterans post one line across social media: "We serve the people, not the politicians." As darkness falls, soldiers outside Downing Street lower their weapons. For a brief, fragile moment, the nation feels something no order can command. Respect. By morning, Britain wakens to quiet. No speeches, no briefings, just streets washed clean by exhaustion. Yet beneath the calm, something irreversible has changed. The government holds power on paper, but authority has already left the building. It belongs now to the people who refuse to forget. From Uxbridge to Southampton, from the Commons to the coast, one truth echoes through every home. Britain was never broken, just unheard. And now it is speaking again. The lion is not going back to sleep. It's watching, waiting, remembering what it means to roar. This is Britain Core News. If you stand for truth, subscribe now because the next roar is already coming.